the smell of horses and sweat. That's what you remember most. You're sitting in a wooden cart moving east. Your wrists are raw from the ropes. The woman next to you hasn't spoken in 3 days. She just stares at the horizon with empty eyes. Your name was Zarina, 16 years old, daughter of a silk merchant in Samarkand. A month ago, you were learning to weave carpets with your mother. She was teaching you the pattern her grandmother had taught her. 4 generations of the same design. That pattern died with your city. The riders came at dawn, not screaming, not chaotic, silent, organized, terrifying. They didn't burn everything immediately, like other armies. First came the scribes, men with ink-stained fingers who walked through the survivors, writing on scrolls. They separated you from your mother in less than an hour. You screamed her name. She screamed yours. A soldier hit you so hard you couldn't breathe. When you looked up again, she was being pushed toward another group, the group walking toward the river. You never saw her again. A man grabbed your face, turned it left, right, checked your teeth like you were a horse at market. He wrote something on his scroll and marked your wrist with ink. A number. That's all you are now. And the cart keeps moving east. This is the story of what the Mongols did to the women of the nations they conquered. They didn't kill them. That would have been mercy. They kept them, used them, erased them from the inside out. Because Genghis Khan understood something no conqueror before him had grasped. Swords win battles, but wombs win centuries. And the most terrifying part isn't what Genghis Khan did. It's that it worked so well that in 2003, Oxford University geneticists published a study called The Genetic Legacy of the Mongols. What they found shocked the scientific world. 16 million men alive today carry the evidence in their DNA. You might be one of them. If this story grips you, drop a like and subscribe. It takes a second and helps us keep pulling voices out of the silence. But before you understand what happened to Zarina, you need to understand the man who built the machine that swallowed her. Because Genghis Khan wasn't born a monster. He wasn't even born Genghis Khan. That name, universal ruler, he wouldn't earn it for another 30 years. In 1171, he was just a 9-year-old boy named Temujin, kneeling beside his father's body on the frozen steppes of Mongolia. Yesugei was a tribal chief, respected, feared. Now he's a corpse, foam still drying on his lips, poisoned by a rival tribe that had shared a meal with him the night before. Within a week, his father's allies abandoned them. His mother Holan was left alone with 5 children in the cruelest winter Mongolia had seen in decades. They ate roots, rats, anything that moved. Temujin learned at 9 years old the lesson that would define everything. The world is divided between those who take and those who are taken. At 16, the lesson became personal. His betrothed, Berta, was kidnapped by an enemy tribe, the Merkits. For 8 months, Temujin searched. When he finally rescued her, Berta was pregnant. Was the child his or her captor's? He never knew, but standing in that burned camp surrounded by dead Merkits, something clicked inside him. The men who took Berta were dead, but what they did to her would live on. In the child. In the children that child might have. Conquest by sword is temporary. Armies lose, empires fall. But children are permanent. He raised Berta's son as his own, but he never forgot the lesson. In 1206, the Mongol tribes proclaimed him Genghis Khan, universal ruler. The starving boy from the steppes now commanded the largest army the world had ever seen, and he would apply that lesson on a scale no one had imagined. Which brings us back to Zarina. And the cart moving east, the cart stops. Zarina doesn't know how many days have passed, 8, maybe 10. Time blurs when you can't see the sun. They've arrived at a camp, hundreds of tents stretching toward the horizon, and carts, so many carts filled with women, some crying, some silent, some with empty eyes. A Mongol woman walks down the line, not a prisoner, an administrator. She carries a wooden tablet and speaks with the efficiency of someone counting grain. She stops at Zarina's cart, looks at the number on her wrist, writes something. This one, officers section. Zarina doesn't understand yet, but she will. The system didn't emerge fully formed. Genghis Khan built it over years. The first test was against the Tangut kingdom in 1209. Other conquerors killed and looted. Genghis Khan sent scribes ahead of his army. They infiltrated cities disguised as merchants, counting women the way generals count fortifications. Ages, physical condition, family lineage, all documented before the first arrow flew. When the Tangut cities fell, the sorting began. Men of fighting age, eliminated or conscripted. The elderly, released to spread terror to the next city. The women, divided with the precision of a merchant sorting silk. Young, healthy, capable of bearing children, marked and assigned to caravans. The others, old, sick, injured, left behind. The Mongols had a term for them. Not worth the food. Genghis Khan reviewed the system personally, spent 3 days examining records. How many women captured, how many pregnancies resulted. He wasn't satisfied. Too many dying in transport, not enough births. He issued new protocols. Better food, medical attention for pregnant women, penalties for soldiers who damaged valuable inventory. This wasn't mercy. This was optimization. He was engineering a system, and like any engineer, he measured success in output. The administrators who ran the caravans reported directly to him. They sent monthly updates, numbers, statistics, production rates. Women who failed to produce children were reassigned to labor. Women who produced healthy children were rewarded with better food, better treatment. The system created incentives, terrible incentives, but incentives that worked. There were even specialists, women trained to examine new captives, to determine their health, their age, their potential, to sort them into categories before they even reached the caravans. The Mongols called these specialists counters. Their job was simple: maximize output, minimize waste. A young woman in good health was valuable. An older woman with experience in childbirth was useful. A woman who was sick, injured, or past childbearing age was a resource drain. The counters made these decisions in seconds. A glance, a mark on a tablet, a direction pointed. Left meant the caravans, right meant something else. No one talked about what happened to the ones who went right. Within 5 years, the model was perfected, ready to be deployed across an empire. Zarina has been in the camp for 2 weeks when she sees him. Genghis Khan, older than she imagined, mid-60s, a weathered face carved from stone. He rides through the camp slowly, surveying his inventory. He stops near Zarina's section. She keeps her head down. Looking at him is forbidden, but she hears his voice, low, gravelly. The Persian ones. They read, they write, useful for households, mark them. That's all. He moves on. Zarina understands now what she is. Not a prisoner, not a slave, a resource, allocated by category. The man who decided her fate spent less time on her than he would choosing a horse. By 1219, the system was ready for its ultimate test. The Khwarezmian Empire. 15 million people, 400,000 soldiers, one of the largest empires in the world. The Shah ruled from Samarkand to the borders of India. He commanded armies that had never known defeat. He controlled trade routes that connected China to Europe. He thought he was untouchable. The Shah made a fatal mistake. His governor executed Mongol trade envoys, killed them, took their goods. Genghis Khan sent ambassadors demanding justice. The Shah executed them too, shaved their beards, the ultimate insult, and sent their heads back to Mongolia. He thought the Mongols were another raiding tribe, barbarians who would retreat at the first sign of real resistance. He had no idea what he'd awakened. Genghis Khan gathered his commanders. This campaign would be different. I will make them a lesson that echoes for 1,000 years. I will tear out their roots so completely that their grandchildren's grandchildren will not remember they existed. He meant every word. Samarkand fell in 5 days. The chronicles say over 100,000 women were taken from Samarkand alone. Sorted, categorized, distributed. Noble women to officers, educated women to administrative households, common women to soldiers. Zarina's mother, probably in her 40s, was not worth the food. Zarina herself, 16 and literate, was marked for officers. She would be expected to bear children for the next 20 years. But Samarkand was just the beginning. Bukhara fell next. The Mongols burned the great library. Centuries of knowledge turned to ash in a single afternoon. Then Urgench, the capital of Khwarezm. The Mongols diverted a river to flood the city. Those who didn't drown were sorted like the others. Then Merv. Merv may have been the largest city in the world. Population estimates range from 500,000 to over 1 million. A centre of learning, trade, culture. Libraries that held knowledge from Greece, Persia, India, China. The siege lasted 15 days. When the walls fell, the killing began. The chronicles claim the Mongols killed over 1 million people in Merv alone. They spent 13 days counting the dead, stacking bodies, recording numbers. Even the Mongol generals were disturbed by the scale. One reportedly said,